The group leader is the heart of Free Camp. It is your job to make sure that your kids are where they're supposed to be, that they're participating, that they're having a good time. But the most important part of being a group leader is making a connection and building a relationship with every kid in your group. You're going to have kids that come, and when you introduce yourself, they're going to say, "Hey, my name is so-and-so," and they're going to be really easy to build a relationship with. And then you're going to have kids that maybe they don't trust adults. Maybe they're scared. They've never been to camp. And so it is your job to make sure each and every one of those kids feel like they can trust you and that you care about them, so that when later on it's going to be, you guys are going to be tired and you're going to ask things of them like, "Let's keep going," or "Let's do this or that." If you've built a relationship with them, if they know that you care about them, if they know that you were here and you wanted to be here to serve them, then they're going to listen to you. They're going to be more apt to do what you've asked them to do. Okay, when you're building a relationship with the kids, you have to be very intentional to meet them on their level. It could be as simple as a little boy wearing a Spider-Man shirt. It could be as simple as a girl wearing pink tennis shoes and you noticing. You don't necessarily even have to say, "I like." You just say, "I notice your pink shoes," and start a conversation with them. Find a way to break through their barrier so that they feel that you want to know about them, that you care about them. So some of the activities that you're going to be responsible for are making sure they get to their classes on time, taking them to service and participating with them. When they see you in service, plugged in, your hands raised, you're seeking God, then they feel that it's okay for them to seek God. You're going to do very practical things like make a cadence. When you're making your cadence, it is important that you involve each and every kid. It's going to be easy to say, "Let's just say this in our cadence." But when you involve them, when you invite them to make that cadence their own, it becomes their group, not your group. It becomes their group. It becomes something that they have ownership, something where they feel like they've been valued because it was their opportunity to put it in. Even if it doesn't make sense, it's fine. Let them put in what they feel would fit or what they feel was their great idea. And it's that way with every aspect of being a group leader. You want them to have ownership, and you want to find ways and places to value them in everything that you do. When you're walking, if you see somebody falling behind, you ask them to come up and join you. You step back and walk with them. Anything that you can do to include every kid and to make them feel a part and to make them feel that this camp was designed for them and they belong at this camp, then you're doing your job as a group leader. It's our job to build a relationship with them and then to use that relationship so that to bring them closer to us and to allow them an opportunity to experience Jesus' love while we're there. One of my favorite memories of Free Camp is being a group leader. And I had a small group. There was just very few, maybe 4 or 5 kids in my group. And I noticed a little boy that was always off by himself. So I started watching him, and his leader had made a connection with a couple of kids and had not, I don't think she really knew how to handle him. He was one of the boys that always ran off, that wouldn't participate, that while we're supposed to be listening to our next direction, he's kicking the dirt and causing a disruption. And so I went over to him when there was a spare minute and just introduced myself and told him that I was glad he was there and that I had noticed him, and kind of left it at that. Kept my eye on him and just noticed that he was just not being brought into the group. So I went to the group leader and just asked his name and just introduced myself and asked his name. And the group leader was just like, "I don't really know, I just am having a hard time dealing with him and he won't really listen to me." And so I went to the camp director and just told them my concern and asked them if it would be possible if he could join my group, that I had talked to him, I had made a connection with him, and is there any way, the group leader had expressed to me that, she was just frustrated, and could he join my group? So they said that was great. So I went to the group leader and just said, "I know you're having problems. Would you like for him to join my group for a while and give you a break?" And she was like, "Oh yeah, that'd be great." So I went and introduced myself to him again and said, "We're the whatever group we were, and I really only have some girls in my group, and we don't have any boys, and we're going to have some games coming up and stuff, and I could use boys. Could you join my group for a little bit?" And he, very expressionless, whatever, kept his head down. When we did the cadence, always walked beside him. Any interaction I could do with him, by the next day, not only was he beside me, but he asked me if he could hold my hand. Could he stay with me? And one afternoon, he started kind of just telling me about his life and about his story. And it broke my heart. You know, he was in a place where he came to camp needing somebody to kind of rescue him from his reality. And I felt that I was blessed because I got to be that person that could show him God's love, that could just show him that things in life could be different, that people really did care about him, and that more importantly, Jesus cared about him. At the end of camp, instead of sitting in the back row, not participating in praise and worship, he was right beside me. Anything I did, anywhere I went, he asked if he could go with me and be with me. And so not only do I feel like he had a break from his reality, but that the doors were open so that he could experience God's love and he could feel something different than what he had experienced in the past. I also think that as a group leader, sometimes we're going to have teenagers in our group that they don't really know how to bridge that gap with kids. And so it is our job to do that by example, to role model that for them, but also to give them ideas and say like, hey, in that last instance when that kid was this, you know, how about saying this because you like football too. You like running, you like playing in the dirt too. Do you ever remember playing in the dirt as a kid? Okay, well, he likes that. So talk to him about that. So it's not only reaching those kids and making a connection with those kids, but training those teenagers that are in our group, being a role model so that they know how to relate to those kids, so that they know how to bridge that gap. And it's about building relationships, but the whole reason we want to build that relationship is so that they trust us. They feel that it's okay to experience God, that they feel that it's okay during that service to ask us to pray for them, that it's okay for them to say, this is why I said this. This is why this happened, and I need you to pray for me. I need you to help me out. We're there to lead them to Jesus, but to let them have an experience so that they can take that experience home with them, so that they know that it doesn't have to stop when camp stops, but that relationship can go home with them. As a group leader, it is the most rewarding position at the camp, I feel like. Me personally, I've done all different kinds of jobs. My favorite is being a group leader, is getting the opportunity just to build relationship with those kids and to see that me giving up of my time and of my energy is making an impact and opening the doors for those kids to really experience God's love. However, it's going to be the most demanding and the most challenging 3 or 4 days of your life. From being tired, hot, being dirty, and having kids hanging on you all the time, having kids that yell back at you when you ask them to do something, have kids tell you no, they're not going to do that, and then being asked to go to a service at night and to let all of that go and to enter into God's presence. It will be the most challenging 4 days of your life. And personally, I feel like that morning time is key. You have to take that morning time. You're going to be so tired that you don't think you can pull yourself out of bed. Get up just a few minutes early. Have that time in the morning where you feel like you're connecting with God and you're praying for that group and you're saying, God, give me opportunity today to make an impact on one of those kids' life. Give me an opportunity today to show your love to those kids. I feel like that's the most important part. I also feel like during that time and you're just in God's presence by yourself, then He gives you a small glimpse of the change that's going to happen, the change that's happening then. He will give you what you need to sustain you. He will say, look, this, even if it's a small step, little guy in your group, little girl in your group that's been hitting or yelling, and remember yesterday when you put your arms around them, and instead of fighting back, they hugged you back. He will remind you of the reason and the things that He's able to accomplish through you. In Amarillo, our team leaders, they encourage us to look for people that are struggling and to encourage them. It could be as simple as, hey, I'm praying for you today, or I saw, that you have a little rascal in your group, and I saw that you gave them a hug today when they were yelling out, and I just wanted to tell you, that spoke to me. Sometimes hearing somebody else say, I saw that, and I want to implement that into my group, that gives you the encouragement that you need to continue to press forward and to know that what you're doing is making an impact. You're going to be tired, you're going to be frustrated, but you also have to look that you have 4 days. It's a small window of time. You have 4 days to make a difference in somebody's life. You have 4 days to show somebody God's love. You have 4 days to put your arms around this kid, and you might not ever see him or her again. And to seize the moment, to be in the moment with those kids, to look for every opportunity that you can to be in the moment with each one of those kids, and to know that you are there by God's design, and to pray that He would give you the strength, that He would give you the grace, and that He would give you the words to speak to His children.